Okay, the news for today, or this week I should say. COVID-19 claims Lake County woman as Wildwood sees jumps in cases. Former state representative Marlene O'Toole connected to villages property deed compliance. She used to work for the villages. See what's going on. She's connected to that property up there. I don't have no idea what the deal is. What's the dealio? Former state representative Marlene O'Toole was connected to a property deed compliance case during a public hearing Wednesday afternoon at the villages. The property was located at 829 Silver Oak Avenue on the historic side of the villages. It was owned by Marlene Cronin, who died in 2012. The New Hampshire native, who was known in the villages as Marlene the Barber, was a cousin of O'Toole, who lives in the Lady Lake portion of the villages. Cronin was named O'Toole as the executor, Cronin's will named O'Toole as the executor of the estate, but the will was incomplete according to information provided by community standards. O'Toole was paying all the bills, but since the property is not in her name, she intends on letting the property go, said a document from community standards. The property records do not indicate a mortgage on her property, and the real estate taxes are due for 2019, and utilities are past due and turned off, which is also a violation. You can't have your utilities turned off here. A complaint was received in June about overgrown grass. Community standards verified the complaint the following day. Who is the legal owner? Asked Village Center Community Development District Supervisor Doug Tharp. I don't understand how we can enforce this. The will is not going through probate, said Counsel Louis Stone. He said the fines will go against the property. During the public hearing before the VCDD Board of Supervisors, 3 days were granted to bring the property into compliance. If the property is not brought into compliance, a fine of $250 will be imposed. An additional fine of $250 will be imposed each time the district must maintain the property. If the fines reach $1,500, the case will be turned over to district council. There you go. I've mentioned this before, that is a problem up there in that whole area. The area is in the middle of a turnover, if you know what I mean. And they're having problems up there of things like reverse mortgages. And not just reverse mortgages the problem. The problem is once that person passes away, who is responsible for the maintenance of the property to keep it in good shape according to the deed restrictions? It's hard to get a bank that give you a reverse mortgage that's in, say, Philadelphia somewhere, or Seattle, Washington, or Los Angeles, California, and to get them to make sure that the yard's mowed, bushes are trimmed, the upkeep on the home, on the outside anyway, is kept within district standards. It's an ongoing issue, and it will continue to be an ongoing issue until they figure out how to settle something like this. They do have counsel in all districts, and they'll turn it over, and I guess they'll hash it out. Also, like here, a will. Apparently the will is not conducted or not worded correctly, or the will has never been finished properly. It's not going through probate. I don't know what the problem is there, but I know that can be a very strict legal issue. Living trust. I was executor of my dad. He had a living trust. Just from what I've seen, my mother's mother had a will, and when her time came, everything went through probate, and I vaguely remember the legal hash mash that they had to go through to settle everything. And it was, I forget how, it was months and months and months. Dad, when he passed, we had a living trust. And as his executor, once he passed, other than having some death certificates I had to take with me to, well, one, his bank, and to be able to close his accounts out, to be able to cash in his life insurance, to be able to sell the property, and to be able to do all kinds of things. I didn't go through probate at all. It was just easy peasy. And every time I went somewhere and showed them the one page that they really needed to see that appointed me executor of his living trust, plus a copy of the death certificate, there was never an argument. Never had a problem. I think that might be the way to go. At least in his case it was, and in my case I think that's probably the way to go. I haven't done it yet, but I think that's what I'm going to do. So it's something you need to think about before something happens. Make sure things are in order for your sons and your daughters, brothers and sisters, whatever. Make it as easy as possible so somebody else isn't getting part of what your inheritance or their inheritance might be worth. I know most of you's already done all that. Shoot, I'm probably the last one to get any of this done. Okay, here's another one. AAC members were offered choice between apartments or parking garage where Hacienda Country Club was at. A 3-hour meeting Wednesday of the Amenity Authority Committee revealed that members had been offered a difficult choice: an apartment complex or a parking garage at the site of the former Hacienda Hills Country Club. The new demolished country club is located on an approximately 7-acre piece of land owned by the developer of the Villages. There will be development on this property. That's not a threat, it's a reality. You can't expect it to remain vacant, District Manager Richard Baer told the AAC. The developer previously had offered the Hacienda Hill site to the AAC for purchase at full market value. The AAC, under pressure from residents to pass on the offer, failed to make a deal with the developer, and the offer was taken off the table. The property remained vacant for several months, and then last month heavy equipment was brought in. The country club pool and tennis courts were demolished. The developer was very, very clear. The developer said, "I am not going to go back and forth with the AAC." Bayer told AAC members Wednesday. AAC Don Deacon said each AAC member had been invited one by one into a private meeting, which included the Village's Vice President of Community Relations, Gary Lester. In the meeting, Lester reportedly said the AAC had a choice between the age-restricted apartment building or a satellite parking facility for the Village's regional hospital. In my mind, that probably would have been a better choice. This is non-negotiable. There will be no compromises. I will build a parking garage for the hospital instead, or something else, Deacon recalled. Lester saying during his private meeting, AAC member John Wilcox said that 5 years ago when the committee agreed to turn over 300 amenity privileges to the developer, it was with the understanding they would be restricted for use by an assisted living facility or an independent living facility, not apartments. Deacon agreed with that recollection of the agreement in 2015. I feel like a victim of bait and switch. The AAC voted 4-1 Wednesday in favor of the Villages developer using Villages-wide amenities for the future apartment dwellers. The agreement calls for the amenity fees collected from the renters to go to the developer. It is estimated that revenue will total about $560,000 per year. However, the AAC will collect a little more than $14 per unit to help cover the cost of community watch and public safety. Deceased villager's home left abandoned after daughter cleans out house. This is up in the historic area again. Just in one day, there's like 3 reports about the historic area. That's why I say they got problems up there. People up there don't like people saying anything about it. But it's a fact. You've got people passing away. You got wills that, like I just read, a will that's not right, so property is going to crap. People live next door to that property. The property is going to crap. People from north inherit grandpa's house. They don't want it. And so it just goes to crap. It just turns into legal issues. You got people that do inherit grandpa's house. They just move in. They don't know anything about rules or regulations or district rules or any of that stuff up there. And so they just move in. They move in sometime with children, full time. You can't have children, at least in my district, you cannot have children living with you full time under the age of 19 years old. I almost said a bad word. I see the house in question is located at 509 Jason Drive in the village of Silver Lake. Silver Lake is the oldest village, I think, of all of the villages. It was owned by Catherine Conader, who is deceased. I don't know if you can see it or not. Can you see the property? See the grass? How tall it is? It's totally unkept. A neighbor indicated that her daughter came down, took what she wanted out of the home, and left, according to the information presented by Community Standards during a public hearing Wednesday afternoon before the Village Center Community Development District. A complaint was received May 21st regarding overgrown grass and weeds at the home. The violation was verified the following day by Community Standards. So just so you know, the first three. The first one was an abandoned home on the historic side of the villages, probably Silver Lake area. Another problem in the older section of the villages, Hacienda Country Club. They're tearing it down and going to put in apartments there, which is going to create a little bit of a traffic in that area right there, and it's going to make everything more crowded. Everybody there in the apartments are going to have amenity rights. That means more people in the pool, more people at the square, more people shopping. Parking lots are going to be more and more full in the wintertime. Don't take what I'm saying as being critical of all this. I'm just telling you how it is. When you put that many people in a small area, it's a parking problem. It's going to be a traffic problem. It just is. I think the parking garage would have been a better idea because it's for the hospital over there, which is not just down the road really a little bit. See, it's never for the residents. It's all about how much money is the developer going to make on this deal. Now, there's a country club that them people bought up there in Hacienda area, the Spanish Springs area. They bought homes in that area back in the day to be close to that country club and golf course and swimming pool. And that's been taken away from them now. It's gone. That's what I mean when I tell people all the time, not necessarily about a water pond next to your house and you love that view. You're not guaranteed that view will always be there. Sinkhole opens up, your water view's gone. That $100,000 lot you paid a premium price for is now devalued because that water is gone. And it happens. If you buy a house next to a swamp, if that swamp, and you need to find this out before you buy the house or buy the lot, if that swamp is a protected habitat on the other side of that little fence, that black fence that's separating you from that swamp, that's not there for your protection to keep alligators out of your backyard. That's the dividing line of the village's property and that swamp. That swamp's protected. That means they don't mow grass back there. They can't trim trees back behind that fence. It's a protected area. And we've had another home abandoned on the historic side. And here's the fourth report, all in one day. Villager's grandson arrested after fleeing hospital after crashing vehicle. There he is. This is what I'm talking about. These people here, right there. Those are the ones that's coming down here. Drug problems. I don't know what all kind of problems they got. They're not retired. They have a whole different set of values in their mind. Of partying and girlfriends and drugs and whatever. And grandma and grandpa or mom and dad, if you're an enabler. You know, if this child is staying with you and if he's not going to college or going to some kind of a training school of some kind, like maybe he's working at a hospital to get somewhere in life, why is he living with you? Just why? Let's see what we got here. A villager's 32-year-old grandson was arrested after fleeing UF Health, the village's hospital, where he was taken by ambulance after crashing his vehicle off County Road 466. Matthew Phillip Beaton crashed his white Ford Escape at about 8 p.m. Saturday onto a median and was found unresponsive behind the wheel, according to an arrest report from the Florida Highway Patrol. A member of the village's public safety department administered Narcan to Beaton. He was arrested on charges of driving under the influence and possession of drug equipment. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $1,500 bond. Beaton was arrested in 2018 after he was found sleeping in the village's property management truck at Lake Sumter Landing. At the time, he was employed by the district government. He was found to be in possession of a syringe, cocaine, and the drug quinopine, for which Beaton did not have prescription. Beaton was free on $3,500 bond. Who do you reckon's paying that bond, huh? Who do you reckon? He was arrested a few months later at the Walmart neighborhood market at Sarasota Plaza after he was found in a white Ford Edge suffering a seizure. The Michigan native had fresh track marks on his arm with blood oozing out. He's a drug addict, and this is what happens down here. And I just don't get why people enable people like this to keep on drugs. You should make it as difficult as possible. Make him pay. Make him pay for everything he has to do. At 30-some years old, he should be paying anyway. Make him pay. That way he has no money to go out and spend on drugs or whatever. When he gets arrested, leave him in jail. He'll get off the drugs because he ain't going to get any in there probably. Make him pay a price. Make him think. But what you're doing isn't working. A woman was arrested Tuesday morning in the village of Rio Grande. That's up north by Spanish Springs, in the older area also. We did a long golf cart ride. It's going to be in a series of at least four videos. And if you watch any of those long golf cart rides, I go by all these areas that they're talking about here. We also go inside the historical area and do a drive around to show you what the area kind of looks like. Most of the area is just perfectly fine, no big deal, but just know that these problems that I've read to you up there exist. A woman was arrested Tuesday morning in the village of Rio Grande after she was found in a garage hiding in the trunk of a vehicle. Drugs, you think? Theft? Shoplifter? Somebody's granddaughter? Well, there she is, if you can see her. Jessica Lauren Hall, 35, was arrested at 10:31 a.m. at 408 San Marino Drive by Sumter County Sheriff's Deputy. She was booked without bond at the Sumter County Detention Center. A 911 call had been received by the dispatch center at the Sheriff's Office regarding Hall's arrival at the home in a black vehicle. A deputy arrived at the scene and checked with two people in the vehicle who confirmed that Hall was in the residence. They said she had driven them there and they were waiting for her to return to the vehicle. The homeowner consented to the search of the home, and deputies found Hall in the garage hiding in the trunk of a car. She was charged with violating a court order, probably a trespass order, not to go back to the house. Hall had been arrested in June in connection with the robberies of a local mini-marts, and she also has a long history of drug-related arrests. After one arrest at Walmart at Buffalo Ridge Plaza in Villages, Hall admitted she had been stealing from the store almost on a daily basis to support a drug habit. There's another one. And see, the thing is, here's what I concern myself with. All them kids and things basically are up there. Most of them. Not all of them. I reported one over here at Osceola Hills about a year ago. I haven't heard much about him lately, but he's a trouble child for that neighborhood. And there was some other guy when this area was new that he was hiding in bushes at a rec center somewhere and was jumping out and scaring the dickens out of elderly people going in and out of the rec center. They had him arrested. I don't know if he was drunk or on drugs. I can't remember. So we've had a fair share of nutbags around here, but not that many. Really, just not even that many even to concern yourself with. But in the older area, it seems like it's growing. And it makes me think that as our area gets older, that problem there will be here. And then you got to ask yourself a question. Do I want to be here when that starts, or do I want to get out before it starts? Don't know. It's a question you have to think about. Right now, I watch the area. I watch where we're at, and I watch what we're doing. Everything's perfectly fine, no problem. We feel safe. Sue goes walking every day. I go out in a golf cart all the time. I walk down the road to see, have a beer with my friend, and things like that. But no, but I do keep my ears and my eyes open about people moving in. I see people walking up and down the road all the time. I have no idea who they are. I don't know if they're renting. I don't know if they just bought a house. If they did somebody move out? I don't know. But I keep my eye open. And when I start seeing things that just don't add up to me, that'll be the day that me and Sue will have to sit down and have a talk. Because, be honest with you, I'm not going to be around it. PWAC to spend $141,348 to prop up oft-flooded bridge at golf course. I played a lot of golf around here, and I'm just going to say that that's mangrove. Officials suggest residents subsidizing advertising for the villages. And I do agree with that. Not sure what you're going to do about it. This family down there that's worth $3 or $4 billion now, so what? They'll give you, they'll throw you what, an extra $500 a month for that on the bridge? You're going to take it, because his whole attitude is going to be take it or leave it. And then what are you going to do? An elected official has raised concerns that residents are subsidizing advertising for the village's Community Development District 10 supervisor. Don Wiley said that Monday's project-wide advisory committee meeting that the villages is benefiting from having its trademarked logo on infrastructure owned by residents. He said residents are paying for water towers that have the village's logo and will soon take over costs of maintenance for huge new bridges spanning State Road 44 and the Florida Turnpike. We should not have maintenance cost responsibility for lighting up these billboards. We should not be paying for that maintenance. We should actually be receiving advertising revenue. He admitted he was risking ruffling the feathers of the developer. He said that was not his intent. Who cares? Don Wiley says he's afraid that he might be ruffling the developer's feathers. I wouldn't worry about that. I mean, he's doing okay. A couple $1 billion in the bank, he's doing all right. But that's how they make their money. They get other people to pay for their stuff. I'm going to build a bridge. You guys are going to buy homes. You're going to love it. You're going to have access to everything. You're going to have it. You are going to get everything when these bridges are up. The small print says, but I'm putting my sign on it. We're going to light it up. And you residents, when you take over the maintenance of this bridge, you have to also keep my sign lit up for me to advertise my place so I can sell more homes. And that's what's going on. And I think Don Wiley is absolutely correct. We should be getting advertisement revenue. This greed thing here has got to stop with some of this stuff. I mean, when I buy a brand new car, the first thing I do when I get it home, I take off the advertisement on the back of the car. I just take it off. They're not paying me for that. I take it off. If they want to pay me for it, I'll leave it on. But none of them's going to pay you. So I take it off. It's just, listen, business is business, and it's just another day of business. And that's the way the developer company is going to look at it. His attorneys, his bank of attorneys will get together with, I don't even know who represents District 10 as far as the council goes. They'll get together and they'll argue it out, and he'll get $1 million, we'll get a couple of bucks, and that'll be the end of it. And I'm also working on the next Wednesday night live show. I got a equipment test today with our guest. Oh, by the way, speaking of that, all the winners of last month's WNL prizes, I've got an email from a couple of you that already received your stuff, but I just wanted to show you. There's everything mailed out. That list goes on. This is from one show of all the free stuff we mailed out, gifts, people that want them. So if you haven't got it by now, it should be any day, maybe tomorrow. but it's all been mailed out. So I hope you enjoy whatever it is you won, and hope we'll see you again on next Wednesday Night Live, and we'll play some more games. I don't know what the games are going to be. I haven't made them up yet. I'm working on this stuff. Also, Patreon members, level 4 through level 2, 2, 3, and 4. All videos that go on Patreon are commercial free. And with that being said, I just want to say subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. I know many of you are, but there's more of you that watch these videos every week and you're not subscribed. You say you are, but I've got the analytics that tells me you're not. Sorry. If that button's red, that means you're not subscribed. And I get emails all the time saying I don't get notified about your video. You hit the red subscribe button and then it changes to gray and it says subscribed on there. That means you are subscribed. Right next to that button is a bell. That's called a notification bell. You click on that and then 3 options will come up. All, some, or none, I think. Click all. And then every time I put on a new video or anything like that, you'll be notified about the video. It's absolutely free. Doesn't cost anybody nothing when you say subscribe. This isn't HBO. This isn't Showtime. You're not paying a monthly fee to subscribe to the channel. You only pay a monthly fee is if you go to Patreon page and join there to help support the channel, or if you go to my YouTube channel and hit the join button. There's a join button there also. If you hit that join button, you can join my YouTube membership, which is 99 cents a month. That's all it is. It's not a deal breaker. So anyway, subscribe. If nothing else, all I ask you to do is hit the subscribe button. If you want notified, hit the bell, then hit all, and then you're in like Flint, as they say. So with that being said, I'm going to get out of here. See you all on the other side.